Hey there, and welcome to Workforce Waves, the podcast for recruitment and staffing founders who are ready to grow, scale, and shake up the industry. I'm your host, Kirutika Munusamy, and I am so glad you're here. This is where we have real, no nonsense conversation about what it takes to build a thriving business in recruitment and staffing. Forget the fluff. We're all about strategies that actually work, shared by the people who have been there and done it. A quick shout out to our sponsor, Ambrosial Automations. At Ambrosial Automations, we're kind of your behind the scene partner for growth. We help recruitment and staffing businesses streamline their operation, bring in quality leads, boost sales, and scale, all without the risky upfront costs you get with the most agencies. We work on revenue share model. We don't succeed unless you do. If you are curious about how it works, head over to ambrosialautomations.com for a free 12-month growth plan that's tailored just for you. All right, let's dive in and make some workforce waves. Today, we have a very special guest, Scott, a VP of Operations at Suna Solutions. He's a seasoned business leader and an operations wizard at Suna Solutions with over 15 years of experience in human resource and talent acquisition. Scott, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Scott, in a nutshell, what does Suna Solutions do?
Sure. So our business started about 16 years ago providing recruiting and employer record services. We've since branched out to be providing workforce solutions in the form of MSP or managed service provider programs, statement of work management, and independent contractor vetting and management, but still also sticking to our core of being a great recruiting and HR partner.
That's great. So, what is your role in Suna Solutions? Can you just give me some background on your role and how your day look like?
Sure. So, like a typical operations person, I wear lots and lots of different hats, which is great for me. I like having a variety of things to do. Functionally, I oversee three different areas. So, our HR department, I oversee, and that's providing HR services both to our internal employees as well as all of our employees that we have assigned out to our various clients. I also oversee our MSP practice. So a lot of my time is spent with our client services or delivery teams, managing those accounts, supporting business development and gaining new business, working with our marketing team on finding new ways to penetrate the market. And then finally, my third area is our operations. And what falls into that bucket is client implementations, audit and compliance, contract management / legal, kind of a wide variety of different business functions.
Okay. That's a big list.
Yes.
I hope they're paying you well.
Could be better. Always could be better.
Right. Okay. So, what are some big trends that you are seeing in the industry right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, the big elephant in the room for the past few years has been AI. It's really no secret. And so we've certainly seen over the last year AI being incorporated into many different parts of the process.
Mm-hmm.
At Suna, we've really tried to, I guess, for lack of a better term, humanize the AI, so not become overly reliant on a lot of automations that don't feel like there's a human being that's behind it. So while we're certainly finding very innovative ways to interject AI into our daily lives, we're still leading with, a human voice and a heart behind what it is that we do. Outside of that, trends, at least within the staffing industry, 2024 was a very rough year, I think, for many firms. Parts of the business become very tough to compete. Job orders getting strung out, falling through. So we were, at Suna very fortunate to, pull through with a halfway decent year. But I think, like most of the others in our industry, we're really looking forward to what sounds like should be a very promising 2025.
Okay, that's great. So, Scott, you were telling me about how that is Suna Solutions, and how other companies have been incorporating AI into their operations and workflows in general. So, what are the few places where Suna Solutions have implemented AI?
Sure. So we've been utilizing AI in a couple of different capacities. I'd say the largest is in doing a lot of generative writing, and by that mean I don't necessarily mean that we're relying on ChatGPT to write all of our communications, but it's more taking things that that we would be publishing, pushing it through some sort of AI tool to clean it up, to replicate it. We've been using AI also to help with a lot of our data analysis. So that has tended to take large amounts of time to comb through and make sense of market data or performance data, that sort of things. Been very useful from that standpoint. We've also been using it for some of our internal learning and development, which has been a really great effort to help to pull together different sources and compile it into a usable training that we can use with our team members. And we're just starting to get into purchasing some third-party tools that help help to enhance the user experience for both internal and external affiliates of Suna. So
Okay.
yeah, I'd say not maybe fully diving in completely headfirst,
Yeah.
but getting ourselves kind of deeper and deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah. And I guess 2025 is the year all the companies dive deeper into AI and automations.
Certainly.
And when you were talking about the tools that Suna Solutions are using, which for the AI automations, I can think of a few ATS who are actually implementing automations even on their software or tools to make it more comfortable and easy for the recruiters. It's just like I think I can think of two names here. Greenhouse is one, and I think Bullhorn have implemented few automations on their portal, and it's easier to use.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful innovation.
Right. So, tell us about some big challenges Suna Solution is seeing right now.
Sure. I mean, the biggest continues to be client acquisition, right? So, with such a crowded marketplace, how do you really differentiate yourself? I don't think that problem will ever go away.
Yeah.
Outside of that, as I mentioned earlier, 2024 was a rough year. So, how do you go about, continuing to build your business when things are, in a rough space? So, finding ways to maximize every opportunity, to find every possible efficiency that is always keen to myself and the rest of the leadership team.
Okay. So, can you share a little more about the client acquisition process that you have right now in Sona Solutions?
Sure. So really, when we talk about there's kind of two different business development buckets. So the first is for a retail business, which is the traditional staffing and employer of record payroll services. A lot of that is very relationship driven. Still, I think that's one thing that will never change, no matter how many tools are out there. People like to buy from people that they like. And we found that the most effective way to do that is to build really strong relationships. So we're involved in a lot of groups, particularly in the Southern California market. One of our sales leaders is on the board for a group called Talent Acquisition Network of San Diego,
Hmm.
which is a great outlet for him to build community. So on that side, we're continuing to be relationship driven. The other side of our business for our more strategic workforce solutions is a bit tougher. Those are larger accounts, longer sales cycles, and
Hmm.
so we're finding new and innovative ways to research and reach out to um, prospective clients. Also, actually utilizing some new AI tools that aid in the research of different companies. And for those, it's helping to prove value, helping to differentiate kind of the specific targets that we're going after, which are really companies that are smaller and growing and are not quite into the bucket that a lot of our MSP partners are competing over.
Hmm.
we've also really differentiated ourselves as having a very strong education-led sales and implementation practice for those workforce solutions. So rather than coming at it with here's the way that we do things and this is the way that we think that you need to do things, really listening and being very consultative to what the issues are that they're facing as a business that we can help to resolve, and then we build our solution for that client around those business challenges.
Yeah, I completely understand. Like, it's more about the people touch and not that kind of redundant script or a sales process where you just try to sell it to people using the same one.
Yep,
Yeah, I
exactly.
understand. So, moving forward, what opportunities lie ahead for Suna Solutions?
So I'd say continued growth in workforce solutions. We're really dumping a lot of the firepower on the sales and marketing front for 2025. We see a lot of opportunity to continue to grow and expand that part of our solution. So I'd say our greatest opportunity lies in really tapping into that first generation kind of company that's just starting to hit their growth strides. That's where we see our greatest opportunity for the coming year.
Okay. Okay. So, do you see any other opportunities for Suna Solutions, perhaps? Just like you said, MSP, right? Any other subsector of recruitment you feel Suna Solutions could try out this year?
Yeah, the other area that we're putting a lot of investment into is around statement of work management. I think
Hmm.
that's is starting to become a bit of a hot button in the staffing industry. There's more focus on how are service providers being managed. How can staffing companies potentially be tapped to become service providers and perform services under a true statement of work, not just a statement of work that's hiding contingent workers, but how can they really act as the kind of the consultants and provide the project-based solutions? So we are doing a lot of work in implementing services for some of our current clients and developing collateral around to help prospective clients. We've also been working very closely with a technology partner to add some new processes into their software. We have implemented across a number of our MSP programs
Okay.
that will kind of aid in that the creation of statement of works, selection of vendors for statement of work, and
Hmm.
management of those statements of work, and with AI interjected into a couple of different places to help to kind of better enable that process.
Yeah, that's true. So, other than, like you said, MSP, and I've heard you talk about AI into the operations, let's talk about the priorities and goals for Suna Solutions in 2025.
Um, sure. So, very short version of that is increase revenue and increase efficiencies, right?
Yeah.
So, this after coming out of a rough 2024, we're really looking to hit 2025. Making sure that we're maximizing on every possible opportunity to either drive revenue and drive margin, and lower our costs.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Like you said, drive revenue and reduce costs by increasing efficiency. That's, I guess, all businesses try to do that.
Yes.
Um, Given a rough 2024, yeah, that's something you would be focusing on. I understand. So, what is the company's vision for the next 2 to 3 years?
Yes. I hate to sound like a broken record, but yeah, so continuing to separate ourselves as an MSP provider, that is, I think, first and foremost on all of our minds. We were fortunate last year to finally be named to the Everest Peak Matrix for managed service providers, which was kind of a really big
That's
kudos
awesome.
to us as a relatively new player in the space. Uh, growing our continuing to grow that practice, growing our SOW management practice. We'd love to be able to break into the peak matrix for SOW management within the next year or so. Yeah, in general, growing revenue and increasing
Yeah.
efficiencies. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So you guys, do you have any other goals perhaps for the 3 to 5 years range, except the obviously increasing revenue and cost reduction?
Yeah, I'd say outside of those, we have had a lot more interest and uh, growth in global operations, continuing to find ways to offer similar or same services to our clients outside of the United States as well as inside of the United States. So
Okay.
growing more partnerships, increasing our vendor base. Outside of the United States, developing a better organizational capacity for servicing companies outside of the United States. So that's definitely high on our priority list.
Yeah, yeah. I think international recruitment is one step, you go out of your way to establish such global network, and obviously that's the next step once you have tried to accomplish whatever you wanted to accomplish nationally. So yeah, I have heard a few companies talk about international recruiting and how they have multiple vendors serving them from all over the world to get jobs or get people, employees, candidates for the jobs in US. So yes, that's great. That's great to hear. So I can say from the call with you that I we understood more about Suna Solutions, how Suna Solutions operate, what are they pivoting to and from, the goals and challenges you guys have been facing, and the upcoming future for you in 2024 or later. So that was great. That was a great call, Scott. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, and yeah, that's a wrap for today's episode of Workforce Waves. Huge thanks to our guest, Scott, for sharing his incredible insights on Suna Solutions and the future of recruitment. Seriously, I'm walking away with some new ideas myself, and I hope you are too. Now, before we go, Scott, where can people find you if they want to connect or learn more about your work?
Yeah, I'd say LinkedIn is probably the easiest place. Easily findable there. I have a weekly newsletter also where I talk about kind of breaking topics within the HR space. So that's a great way to stay connected.
Perfect, perfect. Make sure you follow Scott on LinkedIn and check out Suna Solutions. They're definitely someone you want in your corner. To our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who needs to hear it. And one more time, if you're stuck in the grind of manual processes or struggling to grow, we can help you optimize operations, bring in leads that convert, boost sales, and scale without the upfront risk. Head over to ambrosialautomations.com to get your free custom 12 months growth plan. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks again, Scott. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And remember, growth isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. Let's make some waves together. See you next time.